Hi everyone, and welcome to the Rugger. My name is Nate. I'm going to take you through the rugby that happened just the weekend gone for the opening round of the Six Nations. As an Irish supporter, it was a very tough weekend, probably the worst weekend we've had in quite some time, probably since we got knocked out of the last World Cup. But I will try and get through it without having a total breakdown. Yeah, we had the French game on Thursday, which was a very unorthodox day in the first place. It was on because of the Winter Olympics that was happening in France. So it was one of those weekends where you thought Saturday was Sunday. It was very strange. It kind of just got a bonus day on Sunday. It felt like, but it was a Thursday night game. I don't think it really worked. In terms of people going out and enjoying it or trying to go support the team. I did notice there was not many Irish supporters in the crowd watching the game. They definitely made themselves heard, but it definitely seemed predominantly a French support group in the Stade de France. So it was a very comprehensive hocking, 36 points, sorry, 34 points to 12. Fair play to the French, deserved to win the game. They totally outclassed us and just seemed a lot faster, a lot more creative. Seemed to get the bounce of the ball a lot, just in general, just from the high kicks coming out of the air. So yeah, it was not Ireland's night. Ireland seemed a little bit disjointed, a little bit all over the place, really rusty. Fair to say. Still, we can we still use that excuse for the Lions tour? They're still rusty that way. Is that how long the Lions hangover is? I'm still thinking it's the biggest contingent of Irish players for a Lions tour. Maybe that could be it. But there were players on the squad that didn't play in the Lions, or if they were, didn't play that much for the Lions. So I don't really think it's fair to use that as an excuse. But what I will say is there were a few calls. Now, just being devil's advocate here towards the French fan, there were definitely a few calls I thought were dubious. The first French try looked like it was two forward passes that set it up for the try. I would, when I saw that straight away, I thought, okay, that's a bit strange. I didn't look at that. And that was the first one. The second try came off a scrum that actually looked like it was the French boring it at the side. So I thought that would have been an Irish penalty. And also, it looked like Antoine Dupont knocked it on before he fed it off the scrum. So, which led to another try. So those first two tries, I could contest, with the healthy argument. But that's not to take anything away from the French. They still would have beaten Ireland. Also, in the second half, there was a deliberate knock on from Antoine Dupont, and by and large, I've never seen anyone not get a yellow card when that happens. So I thought that was kind of like, is this because it's Antoine Dupont? Is he Jesus or something? Can he walk on water? Is he able to avoid a yellow card? I thought that was not fair. But whatever. Look, these are small things. Anything could have happened in the 10 minutes he was off the pitch. And you'll know from even last year when he was off the pitch, didn't make any difference at all. The French team still crushed Ireland as well. So those are really the only kind of contestable points I noticed from the game. But besides that, it's weird because even though Ireland did get real good beating, the fundamentals they were actually able to fix. So I'm still encouraged by this game. When I say fundamentals, I mean like things like the set piece, things like the line out looked really good, the scrum looked really good. The loose heads that were chosen, I thought did a great job. Both Lockman and Milne. Milne scored a try, so it just goes to show, the loose heads, the amount of airtime that argument was given, the fear over the loose head was totally bogus. You just kind of sometimes have to trust in the players, and they really did a great job considering the circumstances. So yeah, that was some good things to come out of it. I thought the bench was really effective. Players like Jack Cohn, Nick Timmody, he had a great try. He was the guy that got Ireland on the board in the second half. So the bench was actually quite good. It seemed that once France brought on their bench, the whole tempo changed, and Ireland actually had a nice purple patch for about 15 minutes, maybe 20, where they just held on to the ball and actually looked like they were really putting the French under pressure. So the main flaw of this game really was kicking to the air did not work for Ireland at all. It didn't seem like there was any plan B. And I think this comes to the saying that Eddie Jones kind of said, the things that make you good will end up making you bad. And, a rough translation of that, he was talking about coaches, but I think it applies here just to the Irish team in general. What has made Ireland a great team in the past was their systems based approach. And that definitely was their downfall with the game on Thursday. It just seemed they couldn't break out of that system. They couldn't be spontaneous like the French could. They didn't have that kind of flair. There were players trying to do spontaneous things, but the others were so in sync with what the system should be, it held them back. So it's kind of like Ireland need to be deprogrammed a bit. They need to loosen up a bit with their heads up rugby and just hold the ball, because the kicking did not work. And just to use the statistic here, between Sam Prendergast and Jameson Gibson Park, they kicked for the air 17 times and only 3 times Ireland got the ball back. So they really should have known at least halfway through these kicks it wasn't working for them. They weren't getting the bounce of the ball the right way. It was all going France. It was just literally giving the ball back to France and giving them more opportunities. So it was baffling. It was frustrating to watch that, especially when you look back at it again. It's just they had no plan B. They didn't have any, kind of intuition, decision on the pitch, someone to say, hey, we should change things up. It's just they stuck to a plan that didn't work, and it cost them heavily. The backlash from this game has been huge. The internet went on fire, just like the South Africa game last year in November. Everyone is saying, Ireland are heading straight down. I don't think it's that bad yet. I think it's been a bit alarmist, the responses, but yeah, it was not good at all. Now, one statistic I did notice that is encouraging, that the post-Lions years, France always seemed to win. So if you look back at the last number of Lions tours, going back to the professional era, let's say 1998, before even the Six Nations was the Six Nations, the 6 out of the last 8 Lions tours, France have won the year after. So it does show that, you could lean on the excuse that the Lions rust is still there. I thought that was a really interesting statistic. Now, anything could happen. The tournament has just started, and everyone is already saying France is going to win. Ireland's going to come last. Just shows you, take it all at face value. Ireland could win all their games. France, by some crazy set of circumstance, could lose all their games. Anything could happen. It's the best part of the tournament because there's so many interpretations to make. There's so many bets to call. It's totally open for everybody at this point. As the weeks go on, we'll get a better, more clear idea of who's going to win. But this is the best time for me for the Six Nations, when it's still totally open. Ireland need to get on the board, but I do think they've played their toughest game of the competition. So some good news, I suppose. You need to take some good news out of this. There have been no injuries for Ireland. That's a positive. Okay, that's good. For once, we do not have any injuries, even after playing that insane game. Brean Ward has been called into the squad. Really exciting player from Ulster. So he might even get, a debut on Saturday when Ireland play Italy in the Aviva. Tadhg Furlong seems to be well again, fit again. He might be playing again. He's been including on full training sessions now. So it seems the calf issue has regressed. Be great to have him on as tight head, maybe Clarkson on the bench or something like that. Ireland now have Italy next, who had a smashing game against Scotland, but still Ireland's record against Italy is very healthy, very confident. They've won a lot of times against Italy, especially at home in Dublin. The last time Italy beat Ireland in Dublin was 1997, so not even of this century. So that's a very good record for Irish fans. So we really need a good win against Italy, something to quell this criticism that's coming towards Ireland, something to get a bit of confidence on the board. But it'll be tougher than we think, given that game against Scotland that they played. That was just a great result, really. I think Italy is probably my second team out of Ireland when it comes to the Six Nations. I just love watching them win. So they will be a healthy opponent for Saturday and a really good team to bounce back with. Still a very competitive team. Not as good as England or France, but still a very demanding team. So we'll see. The rankings actually have changed as well. So Ireland was 4th in the world before this game, and France was underneath them. After this outcome, France have gone up to 4, and now Ireland is 5, which I think is quite fair. I think should have been really the case a year ago when France beat us nearly a year ago in the last Six Nations. But because France sent down a B team to New Zealand to play a series and lost 3 games, that hindered their points in the world rankings. And that's probably why they have such a good squad now, is just that they're able to build that depth. They're not afraid to throw down, probably their B team to a very strong Southern Hemisphere team and nearly win one of the games just to get them blooded, get that experience against these top tier teams. So France are in a great place. They're looking really healthy. They're looking like the Goliath to throw down. They look like they could be getting a second Six Nations in a row. They didn't get a Grand Slam last year. Everybody lost a game last year, but it'd be interesting to see if they do win a second year in a row. Yeah, so just on that theme of Ireland having a bad weekend, it wasn't just the Irish national team, it was also the Ireland 15 team who went to play the England A team in Thomond Park on Friday. I went to that game. It was quite disappointing. Unfortunately, it was another drubbing. Andy Farrell was there. Andy Farrell was there with Paul O'Connell and Johnny Sexton in the crowds watching on. So that's probably where Bream Ward got picked. Still, his form was impressive on the day. So that's probably why Andy said, "You're coming onto the squad now," which is great. And also the under-20s game between Ireland and France wasn't even close. It was also a real smackdown from the French team. So a bit of a black weekend, one to forget if you're an Irish fan. But that wasn't the only game that was on. We had the Irish game. French won, congrats to France. We also had Italy against Scotland in the Stadio Olimpica, which is a really good stadium. Went there last year for the first time. And Italy won by 3 points. Fair play to Italy. It was a great game. They really played with a lot of passion. They scored 2 early tries and just seemed really up for it. And it's worth noting that it was a biblical level of rainfall in this game. I've never seen such a wet game in my life. Every time someone moved, just a huge pull of water would fly up into the air. So it was quite wet. Never seen conditions that bad, but they just sucked it up and just, grinded out a win. They deserved to win, but Scotland still had the chance to come back at the very end. They were playing a good few 20 or so phases, trying to break through the Italian defence. And you thought if they had gotten a try and stolen it, it just wouldn't have been fair. So I am glad that Italy won. They deserved it. It's a great win for them. I can't remember the last time Italy beat Scotland. Maybe it was recent enough, but it seems like a while. So it's opened it up a bit. I've put the table here as well that I'm going to go through, but it's just great to see Italy winning a game like that. Yeah, it was just kind of they played their hearts out, had a brilliant finish, and Scotland just didn't seem like they were at the races at all. They just didn't seem like they were up for it as much. There was just something lacking for Scotland. Gregor Townsend, now the coach, is under a lot of scrutiny, and he has been even before this. And you get the feeling maybe he's lost the dressing room, possibly. But people were saying even during the anthems that the Scottish team just looked off because they do have a really good squad. So yeah, very surprised to see that they just couldn't get a foothold in it at all. That was the Italy-Scotland game. Then the England against Wales game, I actually kind of was flicking back and forth to this because really it was a comprehensive English win from the start. 48 points to 7. At least Wales did get a score, but it was another very tough result for the Welsh supporters. So England have gotten on to a flying start. They are just ahead of France. If we go through the table here, we've got Wales at the bottom at 0 points, Ireland just above them, still with 0 points. Didn't even get a bonus point for that game against France, but we did have points difference that was higher. Then we have Scotland with just 1 point, they're number 4, and then we have Italy, number 3, with 4 points because of that win over Scotland. Both England and France have 5 points. England just had the bigger scorelines, so because of their points difference, they're up higher. So there's still plenty to play for. We want to see Ireland climb that table a bit. You want to stay in these top 3, really, by the end of the tournament. You need to be in the top half of that table to really have a bit of boasting, I suppose, bit of claim to brag kind of thing. So that's where we want Ireland to be. It's still possible for Ireland to win the Six Nations. Again, a lot of different scenarios could play out. So until it's totally impossible for that to happen, I still wish and support them enough to say hopefully they will win the Six Nations and they will grow into this tournament with more people coming back from injuries, that kind of thing. So yeah, we'll see. But it was a great start, really, if you're just a rugby fan. There were great games, especially the Italy-Scotland one. But as well, if you're a French fan, you'd be very delighted with that outcome against Ireland. And it was a bit of revenge because 2 years ago in Marseille, Ireland had a very similar scoreline. I think it was 38 points to 17 in Marseille. It was just after the World Cup, and it was a real drubbing. So France definitely got their revenge on Thursday night. So it's good to see that there's this nice, healthy rivalry going. It's kind of flip-flopping between the scores. France have won the last 2 fixtures against Ireland. Ireland won the previous 2 fixtures before that. So it's very up and down, as it always is with rugby, very cyclical. Ireland are definitely on a downward curve. French are definitely going up, but I think if Ireland can maybe work out just some of these systems problems, let themselves off the leash a bit, try a few new players, just breathe a little bit with the ball and run with it instead of kicking it so much, because this kicking strategy just doesn't seem to be working out for them. We'll see. It's all to be revealed. This weekend, we've got Ireland against Italy on Saturday. That's at 2:10 p.m. in the afternoon. Really hope that goes well. Very, very interested to see what the squad is going to be when it drops on Thursday. It would be great to see Adogbo in among somewhere there as a lock to get a chance to show what he's made of. And then we've got Scotland against England. That's at 4:40 p.m. That will be played in Murrayfield in Scotland. That will be for the Calcutta Cup. That's always a great fixture. Scotland seem to always have a good chance of beating England at home. They've done it a lot over the last few years, so it'd be great to see that open up the board a bit, open up the table a bit. And then you've got Wales against France at home in Cardiff, and that's on Sunday at 3:10 p.m. So we really hope that Wales can bounce back from this defeat and just put some points on France. Get a bit better, get a bit more in sync with each other. Just get something that would be encouraging to the Welsh fans. So yeah, it's been pretty bonkers weekend and Thursday night. So it was a real kind of Thursday, Saturday affair. If you're watching the Six Nations, again, not really a fan of these Thursday fixtures, but still made it an interesting way to navigate it. So I hope you enjoyed watching those games and this video. Please like and leave a comment. What did you think about the first round of the Six Nations? And how do you think the table is looking? Is it a fair representation of where everybody is? Is there any dark horse there yet? Italy in for a shout, maybe getting their best result ever for Six Nations. We'll see. Thanks for watching this video and enjoy your rugby. Thanks, bye.